Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to make a quick video here. Someone left a comment on my channel after getting rank 14 that I think I understand what he's trying to say, and I was like, yeah, I'll make a video on it, it's fine. So, the topic in question basically here is that most Paladin players who are getting rank 14, or going to go for rank 14 gear, or blah, 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 are actually getting their Paladins on their alts. And I've noticed this in my guild as well. The vast majority of people who even, are playing Paladin as an alt. Yep. 1 second here. Yep, we're still recording. Cool. And so since they're playing their Paladin as an alt, trying to get them stuff like Girdle of the Fallen Crusader, Ring of Reckoning off of Nefarian. I think Girdle of the Fallen Crusader's got like a 10% chance to drop, but I think it can drop off multiple bosses, but I could be wrong about that. The T2 gloves from Blackwing Lair have a 10% chance to drop, and then the Ring of Reckoning that I currently don't have has a 20% chance to drop off Nefarian, and I forget what the drop chance of a Dragon's Blood Cape is. So the topic of conversation at hand is, what the hell do we do for Paladin gearing for alts? If, getting rank 14 is going to be pretty easy. You just, wait for AV weekend every 3 weeks or so, and you can bang out your 500-ish K honor that you need, 400 to 500K-ish honor that you need in, 10 to 15 hours of gameplay, somewhere around there. All right, so we got that problem solved. But the question is, if I'm playing an alt, 10% chance on Judgment Bindings, 10% chance on Girdle of the Fallen Crusader, 10% chance, my bad, where it was, 20% chance on Ring of Reckoning, and then we've got, I want to say a 10% chance on Dragon's Blood Cape off of Rag. And that's before we even talk about the 10% or 20% chance for Band of Sulfuris off of Ragnaros. Here's the thing. So I can suggest replacement gear. So for example, I used to be running around doing this. I used to be wearing Lawbringer bracers. You can see my HP pool is 5,200. This used to be how I was running around. I'm using a Mymeradon signet off the auction house. I'm using Lawbringer bracers off the auction house. I didn't have an Ani Tooth pendant for a long time, so I was using a pendant of the Fallen Dragon, which gives so much MP5 that I actually discovered this thing is actually really, really good in PvP against enemy spellcasters. How do I put this? My suggestion would be, even on your alts, to do a little bit of rating to try to see if you can get to roll the dice in getting some of these pieces of the gear, especially the Nyxia's Tooth pendant. But then you can adjust for what you're not getting, blah 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 blah. The problem with any of these adjustments is you'll see that my HP bar is 5,200 right now. If I put on my Judgment Bindings, it literally goes up an additional 100 HP. When I replace the Mymeradon signet with a Ring of Reckoning, I'm going to gain another 1,100 hit points, and that's going to put me at exactly 5,400 hit points. If I use my Wild Blossem Berry's food buff, I'll end up having 5,400 hit points. The elephant in the room here is that no matter how we build our character, while right now, While right now, I'm finding this 5,200-ish HP, 5,300-ish HP is more than enough to get the job done. In the future, it's not going to be doable. So in current phase, if you have 5,000 hit points, it's like 5,000. I want to say 5,200-ish HP is where you need to be for your HP breakpoint currently in the game. So this 5,300, 5,400, 5,500 hit points is probably well and truly over the HP breakpoint for this phase in the game. For era gameplay, for Naxx, Rammus, fully geared enemies, and honestly even for for AQ gameplay, you need the HP breakpoint is between 5,400 and 5,600 HP. That's for era level gameplay. Let's get out of here really fast. Let me pause the video really quick here. We'll pull up a gear planner. All right, let's go check out the gear planner here really fast. So, yeah, Belt of the Fallen Crusader, Ring of Reckoning. You can see that my gear would shoot up because the Ring of the Reckoning has like 11 more stamina on it than the Mymeradon Signet Ring, so that puts me at exactly 5,400 HP. By the time I do Wild Blossem Berry buff, we are well and truly, we're at like 5,600 HP. This gear right here is perfectly serviceable in era PvP. You could take this gear, I've done it before, you could take this gear in era PvP and do perfectly fine. Like, you don't need a Mymeradon, you don't need anything else, you don't need fuck all. However, what happens with the Naxx Rammus gearing is that you get access to Fortitude of the Scourge, which gives you, plus 16 stamina and 100 armor. That'll easily take your hit point buff truly into the stratosphere. When AQ 40 is the most dangerous time for playing a Paladin, because we don't have access to the Might of the Scourge of the Fortitude buff. You don't have theoretical access to Might of Minithil, and then other weapons that are really going to make your HP bar go into the stratosphere. If I recall correctly, yeah, this doesn't even increase your HP all that much from the rank 14 weapons. It just, it's a 95 DPS on it, a 2% chance to crit, which is what makes this thing absolutely terrifying. But there's other little bits of gear from Naxx Rammus that give you like really, really good HP. The whole reason why I'm tickled pink about the Grand Marshal stuff, though, Grand Marshals, we can do a Demolisher. No, that's the MP5 one. Let's do a Claymore. Let's remove the Might of the Scourge temporarily here and get back to the spell power. That's the Season of Discovery stuff. We don't want to know that. Spell damage and healing. Okay, cool. Is that I'm aware that with Wild Blossem Berries, at 5,500 hit points, I'm basically good to go, like, for the rest of the game. AQ 40, I have more than enough I'm at my HP breakpoint. For Naxx Rammus geared, I'll get Might of the Scourge, so this will go up easily to over 5,600 HP. Basically, I don't need to upgrade this gear whatsoever for the foreseeable future. So it's kind of like, while raiding, whatever little upgrades end up falling my way is just icing on the cake. This is one of the reasons why I've been so interested in actually playing Classic WoW Anniversary, is because as a PvPer, I'm painfully aware that all I gotta do is get into this gear right here and we're Gucci. So yeah, these things might have a low percent drop chance. The Dragon's Blood Cape, low drop chance. The Girdle, not that great of a drop chance. Ring of Reckoning is pretty good at 20%. And then the Tier 2 Bracers like a 10% drop chance, right? So yeah, it's hard to get these 4 pieces of gear, but it's not that hard to get these 4 pieces of gear, and whatever pieces of gear you're missing, you can kind of find replacements for them. So if you're doing a rank 14 alt, the exact same thing kind of transpires. It's basically do your best to find replacement pieces for this. I think there's an Avenger's Belt. Am I wrong about this? I don't think there is. Is Avenger's Belt or gloves? Avenger. Okay. Avenger. Am I spelling Avenger wrong? No, there's Avengers. Avenger. Breastplate. Alright, so let's see. Helm, mantle, that's our shoulders. Cuirass, that's chest. Pants, and boots. Okay. So we're not... yeah, it's 100% conflict with the marshals. Correct. Yeah, okay, I remember now. This gets replaced with a thick obsidian breastplate a lot of times. Assuming, if I recall, they gave it like they gave it a 10-second internal cooldown. It didn't used to have a 10-second internal cooldown, which kind of sucks. But we may or may not be replacing this with a thick obsidian breastplate come AQ 40. You can see our HP dropped by like 50 from that. In AQ 40 PvP, 5,400 is your HP breakpoint. And then in Naxx Rammus PvP, it's like 5,400 to 5,600 is your HP breakpoint. But you have access to Might of the Scourge, so it becomes much easier to get your hands on. What I'm trying to say as an alt playing Paladin right now is that while you might not be interested in raiding on your alts to try to get any of this gear, what were we doing? We were doing Grand, Marsh. Yeah, we'll do the Marshals. While you might not be interested in raiding to try to get your hands on a belt or a Ring of Reckoning or any of this other gear here, it's fine right now not to have any of that gear. But come AQ40, you're going to notice it being a significant issue that you don't have enough HP. And then by the time Naxx is floating around, you're definitely going to notice there is a massive issue with your AP. I mean, with your health pool. I don't know what can potentially drop in AQ40 to really help with this. But what I do know in my mind is it's like, if you're not willing to do Molten Core for those other pieces, you're not willing to do Blackwing Lair for those other pieces yet still, what the hell are the odds you're going to want to go and do... we need plate. Do we have it include? No, we don't want to include cloth armor. Thank you. What the hell are the odds you're going to go into AQ40 and try to get any of this gear, right? So you got the Freethinker's belt. That's actually pretty damn good from like a stamina perspective, right? Let's put on a Freethinker's belt here really fast. Try to replace that. We already talked about the Mymeradon signet being a good replacement ring. Bought that off the auction house for like 200G, and it went down in price even more from there. Consider HP total is still 5,400, but now we need to use the Wild Blossem Berry buff. Then there's the Dragon's Blood Cape. I have no effing clue what the hell you replace a Dragon's Blood Cape with. Let's see here. Cape of the Trinity. You might be able to get that at AQ40. The good news about playing a Paladin alt is that all you need to do is get your plus healing gear from the dungeons. And it's literally... none of that gear really gets replaced until AQ40, and even in AQ40 it doesn't really get replaced all that much. So you can just raid at any time on your stupid Paladin. So I literally don't understand why you don't do a little bit of raiding on your alts and just roll the dice to see what drops, and then only get like 2 or 3 items from that list, and just find replacements for the other bits, if that makes any sense. Probably the best thing to do mathematically. I have no clue what to put on other than a Dragon's Blood Cape. No, I know the Iskanders are alright, I think, yeah? No, that's Lord Kha'Zix, never mind. I guess I would need to try to find something off of Onyxia or from Zul'Gurub would be my best bet. I know the Chromatic Cloak is healing. Shifting Cloak, yeah, it would need to be something from Zul'Gurub. Zul'Gurub. Let's see what a car drops. Out of sheer curiosity. Pause the video. Alright, here we are. So we are in the Zul'Gurub zone. Notable loot. Yeah, Seal of Gurubrashi. 17's pretty bad, or 13's pretty bad. Just some stupid Warblades. But where are the bosses? Okay, High Priest, Vixorus, Hakar. We'll see if Hakar does anything. Got the Cloak of Consumption. That's terrible. Manslayer, we definitely want from Hakar. Peacekeeper Gauntlets. So Hakar's got nothing for us other than a Manslayer. Start from the top. What does she have for us? Tiger Hide. It's terrible. You just want something with stamina. Band of Servitude's good, but we just really want stamina. Is there a Free Thinkers option at all? I don't think there's a Free Thinkers Cloak to my knowledge. Might of the Tribe. 18 stamina from Might of the Tribe. Okay, we can get behind that. We can get behind that. We can get behind that. We can get behind a Might of the Tribe. Sure. HP is a little low. Okay, ZG. Don't want Judgment Bindings, but we want something else. Let's try Free Thinkers Bindings. 12 stamina versus 21, not ideal. Lawbringer. Could try to make it so we just stay the hell out of, 11, MP5. We already have Free Thinkers Belt, so maybe the 2-piece set bonus is kind of worth it at this point. Yeah, I got some MP5 there. So it's Valor, Brand, that's neck piece. I think the Charm of Valor is a weapon. Arm gauntlets, we're putting that on right now. Belt, we have that already. And then a breastplate. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, 4 MP5, but it wasn't like the Lawbringer didn't have MP5 as well. That's that HP bar, man. I hate watching it drop. It's so painful. I think that's it, right? Yeah, I got the Mymeradon signet. Okay, so this build is you have to go into ZG and get a Might of the Tribe, and that's it, right? Oh, and a couple and Freethinkers pieces, so not a big deal for an alt whatsoever. How do I get this HP bar up? How do I get this HP bar up? Is it possible? 5,200. We're right on the cusp of the HP breakpoint. Not ideal. Do we have a resistance option? Not really. And if I try to replace this with a thick obsidian breastplate, stuff's even going to get worse. If we eventually get Might of the Scourge, however, yeah, then Might of the Scourge would be needed. So this gear right here, for whatever reason, would have a hard time in AQ40. When AQ40 comes out, this build is going to have a rough time. Not that it isn't viable, it's just that if your enemy gets a little lucky on their RNG, you're going to die. Whereas if you were actually at your proper breakpoint of... What did I say it was again? Yeah, the AQ40 breakpoint is 5,400. So with your food buff, you actually do get to 5,400, don't you? But then come Naxx Ram... Oh, this is with the Scourge. Fuck. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So, you're 130 HP below your HP breakpoint, which means that if your enemy gets a little lucky on their RNG, you're going to die. Whereas if you actually hit your RNG breakpoint, they would have to get extraordinarily lucky on their RNG to die. The difference between A and B here is that we try to gear our Paladins so that we survive a doubling of our enemy's RNGesus. So, for example, if they have a 30% chance to crit, I need to calculate for a 60% chance to crit on them, figure out what the HP breakpoint is on that, and then try to get that HP breakpoint. The odds of any opener doubling on RNG is 1 in 4. Basically, if you think about the openers, one of your openers is going to do really bad on RNG, 2 of them are going to do average, and 1 of them is going to do more than average, like possibly even double the average on average. So we have to gear so that we survive 1 in 4 of the enemy bursts. This build right here, there's a 50-50 chance it'll survive or it won't survive a 1 in 4 burst from the enemy. So if we get to 4,400 HP, we're pretty much guaranteed to survive good RNG from enemies on their bursts. They actually have to get an additional crit in order to kill us, more than even double the RNG on the crit. So they have to get like stupidly lucky, like 1 in 10 or 1 in 8 levels of lucky. This one, it'll be like 1 in 4 of the crits may or may not kill you. But the good news is that you can put this gear on your alt like lickety split, right? Mymeradon signet, Zandalari belt, Freethinkers, bracers, and then the Might of the Tribe. Still highly suggested that you do an MC, you do a Blackwing Lair, even in a pug, and you just soft reserve some stuff and you just see what you can get your hands on. Because something, mathematically speaking, something's going to drop, right? Because if I just simply change this over to a Dragon's Blood Cape, why are you being a weirdo? We lose stamina? What? Oh, we gained a little stamina. That's what happened. Okay. Yeah, so I guess I need either a Ring of Reckoning or I need a... This thing had more belt than the Crusader, I think, didn't it? Fallen Crusader, 15, 16, yeah. So it's literally either Tier 2 Bracers or Ring of Reckoning. Let's go back to Might of the Tribe. Yeah, so if you get Might of the Tribe, apparently what we have to do is we have to go do Blackwing Lair. And we either need to get our hands on a Tier 2 Bracers. That'll increase our HP by about 100. That'll get us much closer to the breakpoint. And then the other one is that getting a hands on 20% drop off of Nefarian for a Ring of Reckoning would definitely get us to the HP breakpoint, I think. So if I go Rec, boom, yeah, perfect. Okay, I eat Wild Blossom Berries for a food buff, and I'm at the 5,400 HP breakpoint, like no problem. Yeah, so right now, the gear that you're currently wearing is going to be perfectly fine, but in the future, not so much. Just be advised. But someone wanted to ask, like, hey, what the hell do I wear if I'm basically playing an alt, and I'm not going to do any rating on my alt whatsoever, and my brain's just like, it'll be fine for now, but I don't think you're going to hit your HP breakpoint for AQ40, and strangely, you'll have a better chance of hitting your HP breakpoint for Naxx Rammus than you will for when the game is basically dead, nobody's playing it, right? Than you will for AQ40. The reason for that being that you have access to Might of the Scourge. Might of the Scourge makes up for a lot of the Might of the Scourge makes your gearing significantly more flexible in that breakpoint environment. So we're clear, the amount of HP that you need from AQ40 to AQ in a Naxx Rammus doesn't really change all that much. Let's see if I can do it right here. /dual. It did put down a dual flag. Cool. That's what I'm out here to test for Dwarf Lord. Cool. So that works. Good to know. That does work. Do. What the hell was I saying here? Okay, yeah, so we're absolutely clear. Your HP breakpoint in Naxx Rammus and your HP breakpoint in AQ40 does not change. In both cases, it's 5,400 to 5,600, somewhere around there. 5,400 being the minimum. The reason why I like to say it's 5,400 for AQ, and then it becomes 5,600 for 4,000, or 4,400, 4,600 for Naxx Rammus is... Number one, Might of the Scourge. Number two, it's that... How do I put this? It's far easier for you to get your hands on some additional HP in Naxx Rammus, so you might as well go higher on your HP breakpoint. Get a little bit more RNG in your favor. But yeah, so that's the gear I would wear. Currently, right now, I've been fighting a lot of people with 5,200 HP. I've been noticing that's probably more than I need. A double, triple, and quad confirming that I only need 5,000 HP breakpoint right now. But an AQ40, 5,400 minimum. Minimum. Now, if you're not a serious PvPer, you can probably get away with 5,300 and not even notice the difference. The literal difference is the enemy does like a 4 spell burst on you. They burst on you with 4 spells. Normally, 2 of them would crit if they get lucky on their RNG. If their RNG doubles, it'll be like, 3 spell crits. We gear ourselves so that if 3 spells crit us, those 3 spells would also have to high roll on their damage, and then only then would we fall over dead. If they average roll on their damage or below average roll on their damage, then we somehow survive the 3 crit burst. Mind you, they've thrown 3 spells at us with a 30% chance to crit, and we're trying to survive for 3 of those spells actually critting us. Okay, so in that sense, we're kind of over-geared with the HP breakpoint. But it has to do with like the high rolls. So every time you look at a spell in your game, it always has some variance on it, right? Most of the offensive spells like Shaman's Lightning Bolt and Frost Bolts and stuff like that, I can actually log out of here and get onto Era and jump on my level 60 mage, and we can look at Frost Bolt base variants. When our enemies increase in spell power, their damage always goes up by a flat amount, but the variance on the spell damage doesn't change. So The difference between a 5,400 HP breakpoint and a 5,000... Let's change realm. Let's go classic era. Let's go... We're not Skull Rock. We're White Mane. Let's get on our mage here. Not Test Pally. Let's get on Rishi Mage. Wait, it's a level 1, right? Am I stupid? Or is this a level 60? Level 8. What the hell? Get out of here. Let's get on the mage. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Alright, cool. Where are we? We're in wetlands. No, this is Mythal Harbor. Okay, let's see. Frost Bolt, rank 10. Is that correct? Make sure we got a max rank here. Okay, rank 10. Yeah, you can see the damage variance on this thing isn't that much. It's like, what is that, 35 damage variance on a Frost Bolt. If you look up lightning bolts, like from a shaman, though, they have like a 100 damage variance on them. When you're talking about enemies that do like double crit damage, that variance is kind of a big deal. I didn't realize that the Frostbolt variance was actually that big. Let's look at Fire Blast then. Pyroblast has, yeah, goddamn, Pyroblast's variance is insane. Look at that shit. 700 to almost 900 variance. What the fuck? Fire Blast variance, yeah, that's over almost 100 on the Fire Blast variance. And so on and so forth. Arcane Explosion, that its variance is worth noticing. It's only 20 variance in Arcane Explosion. That's interesting. Anyways. What I'm trying to explain here is that when enemies burst on us, it's always a very set amount of spells that hit us, and it's always the same spells that hit us. And the damage is predictable, but the variance on the damage is not predictable, and the variance on the critical strike is not predictable. So when I say these HP breakpoints, when I say that your HP breakpoint in Naxx is between 5,400 and 5,600, what I'm trying to explain is that if the enemy casts 4 spells at us and 3 of those spells crit us, if I'm at the 5,400 breakpoint, it depends entirely upon whether they high rolled or they low rolled on this damage variance inherent to the spell as to whether or not you lived or died. By the time you're at 5,600 breakpoints, however, it doesn't fucking matter whether they high rolled on their spells or not. They don't need 3 crits out of 4 spell casts to kill you anymore. They need 4 crits out of 4 spell casts to kill you at that point. Like, that's the principal difference between a 5,400 HP breakpoint and a 5,600 HP breakpoint. Anyways, let's get out of here and we'll go back. So, I am aware that if you're not a serious Paladin player, you can probably get away with your alts have... Not only can you get away with your alts having 5,300 HP, you probably won't even fucking notice that you could... If you only had 100 additional HP, how much of a benefit that would be to you. You wouldn't even really notice it. So again, like I can do the math calculating here if I really want to. Let's just do this really fast over here. So, Frostbolts are eventually going to hit you for like 2,400 damage. They'll do between 2,200 and 2,400 damage, depending upon a variety of factors. So let's say they do an average damage of like, 2,300 when they crit. We multiply that by 2. A Mage's Burst is always going to be something like 2 Frostbolts and then 2 Fire Blasts. And then they're running somewhere in the vicinity of like a 30% chance to crit on all that on average, give or take. If both Frost Bolts crit you, but then the Fire Blasts don't crit you, each Fire Blast is going to do about 600 damage base. So we're going to add 1,200 to that. You can see that you're going to take 4,800 damage from that on your Paladin. This is very easily mitigatable, though. So, for example, if you have any kind of fire damage resist, which is usually what I suggest, or if you're rocking like a thick obsidian breastplate, there's a chance that'll come in. So there's a chance that a really good chance your resistances will help knock off some of this damage a little bit. There's a good chance your thick obsidian breastplate will knock off some of this damage a little bit. And then worst case scenario, you're looking at the RNG coming down, and you watch like the first frostbolt crit you, and then like the second frostbolt crit you, or you watch the first frostbolt crit, and then one of these fire blasts crit you. So when the fire blast crits you, you take an additional 300 damage because it's not going to double. And when you start seeing the really good RNG out of the mage, you basically just roll your eyes and you just drink a healing potion or a whipperroot tuber, or worst case scenario, you bubble, right? So a whipperroot tuber will heal you for on average like 800 damage. If we do that, you can see that at 5,300 HP, we might still die under these circumstances. Again, depending upon whether they're high rolling, depending upon whether they're low rolling. But with 5,400 or 5,600 HP, we're going to survive that basically no problem. And the same RNG happens with like elemental shamans. You get to see the RNG lay as it's coming. It's like playing poker and you get to see the cards ahead of time, kind of a deal, right? So if I'm running at a shaman and the first lightning bolt happens to crit me, and then the second lightning bolt he's casting crits me, I'm not even going to look at what the fuck my HP bar situation is. I'm just going to drink a healing potion or eat a whipperroot tuber, because I've already seen his RNG. I don't need to see what the hell else is happening. When you're fighting a mage, what happens is you're stuck in a sheep, and you get to see that first frostbolt crit. So that first frostbolt crits you for 2,300 HP. You need to be alarmed at this point. You pop out, you freedom, you run away, you start doing a holy light. They may or may not throw another. Usually they just fire blast you and counterspell you. If that fire blast crits you, you're going to take like another 900 fire damage. There's another fire blast he's going to be able to do before I can heal again. So I'm running away in a straight line. And then he's going to fire blast me again. And if I see that other fire blast crit, which I shouldn't see it happening, I don't even need to see what the final frostbolt looks like. I'm just going to heal potion, whipperroot, or be prepared to bubble. Like one of the two. Like, okay, I've seen enough RNGs coming down as is. But if I see the first frostbolt crit me, I can start getting alarmed. If I see one of those two fire blasts crit me, I might not even need to see this frostbolt. I'm in a situation with 5,300 HP that if the frostbolt doesn't crit me, I'm probably going to take like 2,200 damage even if it high rolls. So I'll survive that no problem. But if the frostbolt does crit me, I'm just going to die, right? Without a whipperroot tuber. Like a period end of story. Let's get out of here really quick. Let's try to get some visual data here while I'm blathering away about how to do this properly. Okay, where is the... Okay, yeah. So I'm going to turn off the sound on this. Where's the sound? Is it here? Yeah, okay. Alright, so this mage is not... He's not playing dumb, which is why I recorded the video, but I want to show what this is supposed to look like. So he's doing a max rank fireball because he's already decided that he doesn't like my frost resistance. He's backing it up with a rank 1 frostbolt for slow purposes. But typically what will happen is that this will be a max rank frostbolt that hits you first on your Paladin, and you get to see the RNG on this. And obviously this firebolt crit me. It crit me for 400. I'm nowhere near as alarmed about a 1,400 fire blast crit as I would be like, a 2,400 or a 2,300 frostbolt damage crit. But the play is what I want you to note. We run away, we freedom ourselves. Once the GCD is off, then we stop and heal ourselves. Normally what will be happening is this mage will be hot on your ass. Well, you do one of two things. You either run at the mage and threaten them with a Hodge stun, or you, if they're close, and this guy was close enough that I probably should have ran at him and threatened a Hodge stun, or you run away from the mage and freedom yourself and then start healing. The mage is supposed to counterspell this, and then you're basically stuck running away more and more in a straight line, and we'll see that here in a second. This guy is playing it differently. He wants to not counterspell me with my freedom up. He's not stupid, right? Because his win condition is, if I'm going to counterspell this paladin, he better not have his damn freedom up, is basically what he's thinking. But you're supposed to run away in a straight line until the counterspell wears off. And while that's happening, the only thing that the mage can really do to you is they can fire blast you, they can blink forward, they can fire blast you again, and then when you stop and try to cast your 2.5 second Holy Light, then they can nail you with a 2 second cast Frostbolt, right? And it's kind of similar for shamans as well. But it's important that you watch the RNGesus on that first Frostbolt and then like the 2 fire blasts. But they still have to get pretty damn lucky to actually do anything to you. So he blinks away. He should be sheeping me here any second. But I said we're doing Frostbolts for some unknown reason. I just want him to blink to get some mana, or we'll get some damage on him. It's fine. Anyways, hopefully that makes sense. So let's go pause here. What I'm spending a lot of time trying to explain here is that you can probably get away with only having 5,300 HP on your paladin, but the value of getting an additional 100 HP on your paladin is like night and day. I think the difference mathematically is that... Let's think about this for a second. I don't want to rattle it off the top of my head. Let's pull up something like this and get it very definitive, shall we? Okay. So, they have to get extremely lucky. Yeah. 1 in 6, 1 in 4. It's about 1 in 4. One in 4 at 50 equals 1 in 8. All right, so let's make this bigger, shall we? Boom. All right, so if I am 2,300 HP and AQ is out, I'm not hitting Palatine's suggested breakpoint. There is a 1 in 8 chance every time you are bursted on that you're going to basically explode. I would, in my estimation and based upon my PvP experience, I'm going to say it's closer to 1 in 6, because all your enemy has to do is activate some burst trinket, and the next thing you know, RNG is going to go a little bit not so much in your favor. Yeah. However, if you are actually at your HP breakpoint, especially if you're at the high end of your HP breakpoint, the 5,600, let me think. Yeah, okay. So let's make this 5,300 equals, so it's going to be like a 1 in 6. 5,400 is going to equal 1 in it's going to be 1 in 4 at like, I want to say like 20% chance. At 20%, it'll be closer to like a 1 in 8, effectively. Right? Yeah, especially if they're using burst trinkets. This would be my guess. And then 5,600 would equal, they literally start off by needing like 1 in 8. And at 0%. So I guess I need to change this to 80%. So we're consistent. What? No. 20 and then 100. Okay. Equals 1 in, I want to say 1 in 20. You'll notice that the math is not lining up here, and the reason why the math is not lining up here is because PvP experience has to come into play at some point. So what I'm trying to explain and express in all of this is as follows. Do 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 do. Right. So on paper, this HP bar is going to survive like a 1 in 8 enemy burst, but you factor in like a PvP trinket usage. You factor in the enemy gets to see their RNG lay kind of same as you. So you might see the mage, like, wait for a frostbolt crit when you come out of the sheep, and then he activates his burst trinket on you because he already got like the first good RNG lay. Blah 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 blah. So mathematically, this is supposed to be like a 1 in 8. But you factor in the human element and PvP experience and intelligent gameplay, and it's going to be more like a 1 in 6. Then you have this one down here, which what this thing is trying to tell me is that I need to worry about 1 in 4 of my enemies, like, bursts from a critical strike perspective. But then those bursts also need to high roll, which is only going to happen like 30% of the time, and only then if they both get the good RNG lay and they get the high rolls, and they're using a burst trinket, will I actually die? I don't know what 1 in 4 is at a 20% chance to kill me, but I do know that in practice it feels more like a 1 in 8. So we're just going to go 1 in 8. And then you have this odd one down here, which doesn't really line up at all, which is you have 5,600. The enemy now needs a 1 in 8 burst on you. Like, out of the 4 spells they're hitting you with, you are pretty much guaranteed to survive. If 3 of those crit and they all high roll, you're still going to fucking live, which is kind of messed up. So they need that 1 in 8 burst, which is like where all their spells just crit, 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 which is not impossible, right? But when that's happening, you can basically just whipper root tuber or healing potion or bubble and just basically survive it, no problem. So that's why I put down like 1 in 20, which is basically it's impossible for them to effectively kill you, because you can truly see the RNG lay coming if everything is critting, and just kind of roll your eyes and you're like, fine, have one of my major cooldowns as a paladin. You can do the same thing up here for the 5,400. So if I see like really good RNG coming, and I don't want to risk it, I can literally just drink a whipperoot tuber, and it'll make it impossible for their good burst to kill me. But with the 5,300, you're pretty much guaranteed that if you see a good burst coming down, you're going to have to whipperoot tuber. Like, you just can't cross your fingers anymore or anything like that. But anyways, what I wanted to point out was the value of going up the additional 100 HP from 5,300. So you can see that going from 5,300 HP to 5,400 HP, a 1 in 8, with the ability to see the RNGs is coming, or to at least, cross my fingers on a 20%, on an 80% chance I live and a 20% chance I die. I don't mind withholding a whipperoot tuber or a healing potion on a 20% chance this fucker high rolls and I die. Hell, I get to see the high roll RNG coming if I actually know my damn numbers. Is that worth an additional 100 HP or try to find additional 100 HP on my paladin? Fuck yeah, that's worth an additional 100 HP to try to find on my paladin. Now, is it worth the additional 200 HP beyond that to be pretty much good under all circumstances without having to heal potion or whipperoot tuber? I don't fucking know. But since I can get there, that's where I'm gonna go. Just FYI. So yeah. So do I think you can get away? Again, back to my original statement. I think if you're not an experienced paladin player, 5,300 HP is going to feel to you like it's more than enough to get the job done. If you are an experienced duelist or a Palatine video fan or whatever the hell, you're going to be like, yeah, I probably should try to get 5,400 HP because this is a big fucking difference. And then if you're like totally serious about Paladin PvP, getting the high-end breakpoint is usually where it's at. Currently, and I'll throw you a bone here really fast, okay? Where the hell is my... Yeah, let's get back online. Wear the gear that I showed you right now. The one where you have, like, 5,300 HP. So, you've got Mymeradon signets off the auction house. You got the Free Thinkers belt. You've got the Free Thinkers or Tier 1 bracers off the auction house, Lawbringer bracers. And then get yourself, like, a Might of the Tribe cloak or something or just a Stamina Heavy cloak. Just try to be over 5,200 HP right now as best as you can. And what you're effectively are right now is you're at the high end of your HP breakpoint. Okay. Again, 5,000 between 5,000 and 5,200 HP is the current Phase 3's HP breakpoint for your Paladin. It'll be very easy for you to, as a rank 14 Paladin, to get to your high-end breakpoint with gear off the auction house. Go do that, see and experience what that feels like to PvP in, and then when the AQ40 comes out and you're no longer at the high end of your breakpoint, you're suddenly at the low end of your breakpoint, you're going to notice the fucking difference as being night and day, especially as an experienced Paladin, PvP Paladin. And from there, you can decide whether or not it's worth it to get in some raids and try to upgrade your HP pool or not. So anyways, I'm going to end the video here, and Deus Vult. I'm currently writing out to Ogremar to see if /duel works out in Ogremar as well. But this video is already long as hell, so I'll end it here, and Deus Vult.